Suppose you want to have a meeting with a colleague who's on the other side of the country, and neither one of you want to spend the time or the money traveling 3,000 miles. Well, you can talk to each other and see each other instantly with a video phone from AT&T. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Great, thanks.
All right, nice looking haircut you got there, Paul.
Thanks.
All right. In fact, with today's computer technology, there are many ways to meet electronically, to work together, even though you are physically far apart. Today, we'll take a look at virtual meetings on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by Hewlett-Packard, working with industry leaders to ensure compatibility across the board and across the network. HP PCs, you're looking at partnership in a whole new light.
The Computer Chronicles is also made possible by the Software Publishers Association, providers of educational materials to help manage software. Don't copy that floppy.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee, and with me today is Elliot Gold, publisher of the Telespan newsletter and an expert in this field of video conferencing, which we'll be talking about today. Elliot, before I ask you about your stuff, I want to show you something neat here. This is the new Magic Link PDA from Sony, and if we're talking about virtual meetings, this is sort of a virtual environment. I've got my little virtual town, and I can go into my virtual home office and go to my virtual desk, in fact, and if I wanted to put together a meeting, I would just tap on my date book. Say I wanted a new event in my date book. What kind of event? I would say it's a meeting event. And once I clicked on that meeting thing and answered all the questions that come up here, this could automatically use an intelligent agent and notify the other people on this network and change their calendars for the meeting I wanted to hold. So it's kind of cool. Let's talk about your stuff here. This is one solution called Vivo 320. And first of all, go through the components of this video conferencing solution.
Okay, the desktop video conferencing systems come with a camera which can be attached to your PC or can be standalone. This one happens to have a privacy shade on it. It can be tilted down for a document camera. Alternatively, there is a product that can be put on top of the camera or on top of the PC monitor. It has Velcro, so it can be used that way. It's very easy to attach. Because it's a communicating product, it has a modem, which is an ISDN board. You still require video capture boards, so there's a video capture board. But all of the video compression, management, and the audio coding is done in software.
All right, now what's the standards issue here? If I have a system like that, can I assume I can have a video conference with anybody else out there with another system?
Absolutely. This product runs in 320. A lot of the systems that are being shipped for personal products do run in 320. That's an ITU standard. There's 40,000 rooms you can communicate with. There are alternative and competing standards because it's a new market and you've got about 50 products out there.
New market, but in fact this is one of the fastest growing desktop applications now, isn't it?
20,000 systems this year, 100,000 installed next year, and by the end of '96, 350,000 systems.
Wow. Okay, today we'll look at several ways to conduct a virtual meeting, including Intel's ProShare, OmniShare from Hewlett-Packard, and Sharevision from Creative Labs. One of the major issues in desktop conferencing is the cost of interconnecting your computer to the other guy's computer. One attractive solution is a software package called CU-See-Me, which uses the internet for the highway.
Is there a lot of kangaroos there?
I'm sorry to disappoint you. We don't get too many kangaroos in the inner city.
This is what your computer screen could look like if you were connected to the internet with CU-See-Me, a free software program for worldwide video conferencing. You shouldn't expect stunning image quality or audio clarity, but for an unbeatable price, CU-See-Me will let you meet people from around the world face to face.
There are, of course, thousands of people in universities and research institutions and more commercial places these days that sit in front of a fairly powerful computer on their desktop with a pretty good connection to the internet. And so starting a couple of years ago, the idea we had was that maybe we could make desktop video conferencing happen with nothing but software. We now have, I think, it's hard to know, but thousands of people around the world who are able to be, at a moment's notice, in touch with each other wherever they are.
In addition to the CU-See-Me software, the potential world video conferencer needs at least a small camera, a microphone, and a digitizing board for a total cost of about $600 in addition to the internet connection. While it's possible to transmit by modem, an ISDN link is strongly recommended.
The way the program works is that it grabs video frames from the camera and then compares one frame to the previous frame to see what's changed, and then sends just the differences. Actually, after it's picked out the differences, it then does some further compression on those. And that's really the heart of the program.
The program's developer stresses that CU-See-Me is more a social experiment than a technical breakthrough, and that innovations are more likely to come from end users.
We set out not so much to push ahead the frontiers of packet video or video conferencing. What we wanted to do was do what we could that would put it in the hands of a lot of people and really get this social experiment going.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Giles Bateman.
When we think about virtual meetings and desktop video conferencing, we tend to think about looking at the person we're meeting with. But the important thing to be looking at for both parties is the stuff they're talking about. That's the focus of OmniShare from Hewlett-Packard. Here to show it to us is Jim Hammonds of HP. How you doing, Jim?
Good, thanks.
Jim, I asked you to be way over there at the other end of the studio because I wanted to set up a kind of simulation in which we can show how to use this and pretend, say, I'm in New York somewhere and you're in San Francisco. We're hooked up on a phone line using the OmniShare. So first of all, set up the hardware configuration for me.
Sure, you bet. What you've got is you've got a tablet, which is your primary interface with the product. This is where you and I look at the documents. Everything that's on your tablet is reflected on mine and vice versa. You also have a connection unit here. The connection unit has a modem in it and allows us to store documents. Now the modem is a special one that allows us to share voice and documents over a single telephone line at the same time. So I've made a telephone call between the two systems with these telephones. We've got the OmniShares hooked up and we're ready to share a document.
Okay,
so
you there, Jim?
I'm there.
All right, I'm in New York, you're in San Francisco.
If you say so.
What are we going to do?
Okay. We've got a document here. Now, we're going to take the audience into your bathroom today.
Oh, great.
This document is a floor plan of your beach house.
All right, I like
we're
that
building
part.
for you. And I'm going to be your contractor today.
All right, and I see documents are opening up on my screen, which is what you're doing, huh?
That's right. Everything happens in both places at the same time. Now, you can see this is a floor plan, but it's come in on its side, so I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees.
And it rotated on my screen, too.
There we go. And what you can do is you can scroll that document up a little bit so that we can see that master bath where we made all the changes.
Oh, I see, right.
Yep, and if you want, you can just press between the two icons and it'll pop up very quickly. Okay, so like that, for example.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Now I'm going to select our thick pen, and as you saw, that tile seat that you wanted in the shower we put in.
Looks good.
We put in that 37 by 72 Whirlpool tub that you wanted to have. And the lavatory, and you wanted that extra lavatory in the bathroom.
No, Jim. I wanted the lavatory over here in that part of the room.
Okay. Well, we can do that, but you see there's a vanity over there. So if we do that, we're probably going to have to move the vanity over here. Will that be all right?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
I'd ask for a sauna in this bathroom. Jim, I don't see my sauna.
Well, we had a couple problems with the sauna. We really couldn't decide where to put it. Now, we thought about putting it over here, and then putting a little door into it from the shower. What do you think about that?
That's a pretty dumb idea. I got to walk through the shower to get to the sauna. Bad idea.
All right, well, let me erase that then, and we'll take those lines out of there.
Yeah, let's see if we can come up with a better solution than that
Let's see. We've got, I'll tell you what, let's maybe rotate that tub
so
it's facing the other way.
I see that.
And the saunas are typically long and thin, so what we can do is put it in here, extend that wall out a little bit, put a little door there, and maybe make a glass window facing the tub.
Now, what's this whole thing going to cost me, Jim?
Well, I put together a little estimate sheet on the next page. We're going to turn the page here and look at that next sheet.
You're ready for me.
You bet.
Okay.
Okay, the tile sheet is going to run $750, the tile seat in the shower. We can add the additional lavatory for $500, and the Whirlpool tub in the enclosure is $2250. That comes out to $3,500.
Okay.
Now, with the sauna, we took a look at the prices on the sauna, and the sauna is going to run about $10K in addition to that.
No way. Way too much, Jim. I'll offer you $7K for that sauna.
Well, I'll tell you, we really can't do it for less than about $8.5.
All right, you got a deal.
Okay, that's going to put us right at $12K total.
Okay, I can see your total there. All right, looks
Okay.
good.
Let's tell you what. Let's have you sign off on that, and I'll get started on
Uh-oh, so
construction
you're going to have
today.
my signature where you are now, right?
Right over the telephone.
So I've just committed to this 12K.
We're ready to go.
All right, looks great.
Thanks, Stuart.
All right, couple of questions, Jim.
You bet.
First of all, I don't have a PC over here. You had one at your end. Does that matter?
Well, the PC is used to load documents into it. You don't need a PC. You don't need a Macintosh. The product is designed to use with anybody who has just a telephone line and a power cord. You don't have to have any other devices.
And again, this was just a standard analog phone line that was doing our voice and the document at the same time.
We take the voice and the data, push them together, and put them out over that telephone line.
Great. Thanks so much, Jim.
You bet.
All right, while OmniShare lets two people work on a document simultaneously, some teleconferencing systems simply create a common place for information to be shared at different times. Lotus Notes is one example of this approach. Another example is a new software package called Crossties for Workgroups.
Industry analyst Andrew Siebold publishes 2 newsletters from a remote office nestled in the Redwoods just south of San Francisco. His compact home office makes it easy to communicate with his small staff, but he still finds a need for software that manages and directs information to the right place.
Well, I don't think you need a mass of personnel. I mean, there are a few of us in this office, and yes, we can walk across the office and talk to each other, but in the pressures of business during the day, if I'm on the phone with a client and I have a list of to-dos that are generated from that, I'm not necessarily the one that's going to take care of all of those to-dos. One might go to the assistant, one might go to our finance department, one might go somewhere else. So if I enter them in to the program and then distribute them over the computer network, that means that, oh, I didn't forget to tell somebody something, and it actually gets done.
Andy's office is a beta test site for Crossties for Workgroups, an information sharing program for scheduling activities and creating discussion forums. Users can choose whether to center their work on persons, activities, contacts, or documents. The program treats all the information categories as objects, linking them together so the right people get the right information.
Crossties actually allows me to go a level deeper, because not only can I track all these things, but I can assign them to projects, I can assign them to folders and activities, so that when I look at my calendar, I know that if I have an appointment on my calendar, I can very quickly get to all of the things behind that created that appointment.
Siebold has watched the trends come and go in the computer industry for 15 years, and he thinks virtual meetings, including voice, documents, and video, are more than a fad. On the other hand, he has serious concerns about network saturation.
I think it's an issue, and I think it's an issue that people have not addressed well enough. A network, whether it's the internet, whether it's a local area network in a building, whether it's a wireless network, it doesn't matter. There's a certain amount of bandwidth, there's a certain amount of bytes you can put down that pipe, and at a certain speed. There is a danger that if you treat it as an unlimited resource, and what's really interesting about all of them is you keep pushing material down it, you keep stuffing bytes down, and you don't really notice a difference until all of a sudden the system comes to its knees.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Victoria Smith.
So far, we've seen conferencing systems which use standard phone lines and the internet. Next, we'll take a look at a heavy-duty system that uses ISDN lines. The product is ProShare from Intel. Here to show us ProShare is Michael Brook. Michael, tell us about ProShare and in what situation you'd be using it and what scenario we're going to use right now.
Typically, you would use this in any situation where two people have to get some work done, but geographically they're dispersed. They're not able to actually get together face-to-face, but they still need to get some real work done and accomplished. So it's not just meeting together, it's actually working together, although they're apart. Okay,
so our situation is, Michael, you're here working at spot X, and over there we have Barbara, who's in spot Y, and you guys are going to do something together, and show me how you do it.
Absolutely. What I'm going to show you is, this is our video user interface, which has a dialer. I have an address book, but I've also got a speed dialer, just like you would in your telephone.
So you're literally going to call her up.
I'm literally going to call her. We've got the phone interface right here, and I hit the dial button, and it's ringing over there right now and connecting. Now, because it's using ISDN, the connection is very, very fast compared to regular analog modems. It's virtually instantaneous.
Hi, Michael. How are you today?
Great, Barbara. How are you?
Good.
Now what I can do here is I can split the video windows apart, make her window larger. But the key part about this thing is actually being able to get the work done and not just looking at each other. So I'm going to share a document, and I'm going to use our ProShare document conferencing software. And we're now connecting and merging our notebooks. We have a multi-page notebook over here, and the document is just synchronized between the two of us. Anything I do on my end can be done on her end.
This is sort of a common whiteboard now?
It's more than a whiteboard. It's actually, because it's multiple pages, you can view it as a multi-page notebook. So for example, the scenario we're going to show you over here is where we're working on a brochure. I'm a marketing manager, Barbara's a designer from a design firm that we're using, and in order to provide speedier response to her client, we're actually using the ProShare technology to do that. So I can write down, we're going to have a meeting to discuss the logo, and I'll ask Barbara now to bring in the logo that she has designed for me.
Okay, and using the cropping tool provided with the whiteboard, I'm going to take the logo that I designed and paste it into the whiteboard.
And now it's being transferred over to my machine.
So she pasted it in, and you see what she just did?
In an instant.
Okay, so you're both looking at the same thing.
We're both looking at the same thing, and it came over very quickly because ISDN has very high bandwidth capabilities. Now what we can do, once it's here, we have the ability to use a variety of tools to actually highlight an object which is in there, or add text, or I can even point to something. As you can see, we both have different pointers. I have a red pointer, and Barbara has a green pointer.
What Barbara's doing is green, yeah.
So we can point things out to each other on the screen because we can't point with our finger.
Yeah.
Now, Barbara, I think what we really need, I like the logo, but I'd like kind of like a real snappy phrase or catchphrase that goes at the bottom of it.
I thought of a byline. What do you think of this?
I like it. I just think we need to have it centered so you can see we can actually move objects around.
So
and
she entered it, but you then grabbed it and actually moved it.
And I can even edit it if I wanted to and change the text. Now, the other point that I wanted to show you is the fact that right now I've shown you a single object, but as I said earlier, we've got multiple pages. I can actually go to more than just a single page, and in this case, to show you that, I'd like to bring in a brochure and ask Barbara to bring in a multi-page brochure that we can then be looking at and reviewing together.
Okay, now I'm going to import a Microsoft Word document using the print capture command, and I'm going to paste that into the whiteboard.
And right now it's being transferred over to us as it's being generated at that end. At the side here you can see some tabs. The tabs indicate the number of pages and which page we can move to any different page. So right now we're on the fourth page. I can add a page if I wanted to. And as you can see here on the third page the brochure is still being transferred. And I can go to the last page as well. Now I like this section over here. I'd like to move that to the top because this talks about a free offer. So why don't we move that up and place it at the top of the brochure.
Okay, this one will be moved up.
Yes. Now, the final part I'd like to show you is, so far we've been reviewing a document and marking it up. The part that you can also do is if you need to change something together, we can actually share an application. Take, for example, we want to look at a presentation and I want to review it and make some edits. I can actually share my PowerPoint application with Barbara. It's actually running on my computer, but she can see it on her system.
So she may not have the application on her system, but you can see it nevertheless.
That's absolutely right. And we can sit here, we can edit it. Anything I do in my machine is seen on her system.
That's great. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you over there, Barbara.
Thank you.
All right, most desktop conferencing solutions attempt to simulate real in-person meetings, but a company named Ventana has a meeting system it says is better than the real thing. It's called Groupware for Windows.
At the huge Chevron oil company near San Francisco, meetings are a frequent occurrence, and they sometimes take a traditional form. But to bring people together into a room and to get useful ideas out, Chevron is relying more frequently on collaborative software that can help direct the course of the meeting. It's called Ventana Group Systems, and for about $25,000, it can reduce the length of a meeting by over half.
It eliminates all note-taking. It's done by the people doing their input. It's collected on our server, our local area network, and then it's printed as a report as soon as the meeting is over. And everything is captured so that nobody takes notes, nobody needs flip charts, and it saves 80% of your meeting time.
The subject of this meeting, for training purposes, is whether the United States should embark on a mission to Mars. Group Systems acts as a kind of conduit and sorter for ideas which are typed in anonymously by the meeting participants. This random list of thoughts is then sorted into categories by the participants. Finally, the items are voted on and the results instantly displayed. The anonymity of input has turned out to be one of the biggest benefits of this process.
Peers have no problem saying things because they don't know where they're coming from. In the clarifying process, when they talk about it, they aren't asked to take ownership. Whereas in a traditional meeting, you're speaking ownership. So people know who it's coming from.
While many of the participants' contributions are made silently through keyboard and mouse, the computer-assisted meeting does not eliminate normal verbal interaction.
So what are you saying? You're saying that we should take it on from the U.S. standpoint because we could reap the benefits and not share it with others?
The transition from voice to mouse hasn't been entirely problem-free. In one of Chevron's meetings, a computer-shy manager had a hard time adapting to the idea.
After the session was over, we had a discussion, and while he admitted he was pretty uncomfortable going in, and he didn't like the idea that the group didn't know which ideas belonged to the boss, by the end of the day, he saw how the whole process worked, and he felt that they had come to a very good conclusion.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Giles Bateman.
The ideal video conferencing solution would let you share audio, video, and documents in real time using standard analog phone lines. That's the promise of Sharevision PC3000 from Creative Labs. Here to show it to us is David Crilly. That really does promise an awful lot. How do you guys do it?
It really works. It's super compression. What we've got is a system that works over a regular telephone line, as you said, and it's a complete hardware and software setup.
All right, so we're on live right now with a colleague of yours, Ted, over in Palo Alto, right?
That's right.
Show us the kinds of things you can do now using Sharevision.
Okay, we've got audio and video, obviously. Hi, Ted. How you doing?
Hi, David. How are you?
Good, thanks. Hey, Ted, let's take a snapshot of something you've got back there at your house. You've been playing a great game. Let's see what it looks like.
That's right.
So you're going to capture a still of Ted and that box right now.
That's right. I've just taken a snapshot. There's a file transfer happening right now.
Okay.
And we'll have a picture of him on screen. And there we go. And we're actually sharing this between the two parties as well. So, for example, I can open this up and mark it up and say, this is great, but let's say we're working on a package design. I need this to go down here, and you can see that in real time.
And you now have that file in your machine now.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
We can both save that to our PCs.
All right, how about actual file sharing, where you'd want to just send something like a CAD file or something like that and work on it together?
All right. Ted, why don't you send me that picture you have in AutoCAD?
Okay, sounds good.
He's opening up a whiteboard. And what he's going to do is actually print something to his whiteboard. Now, you may have noticed that opened up on screen without us doing anything. He opened that up on his side.
So Ted did it at his end.
Exactly. And then he's printing that instead of to the printer to the whiteboard, and we'll actually both be able to mark that up. It's an AutoCAD file.
Yeah, and I see the system sort of holds off on the video while you're shipping data, so you can squeeze all this through the phone line.
Exactly right.
All right, so the video's back, and there's the AutoCAD file.
Exactly.
Now, can you guys both interactively play with that picture?
Exactly right. So let's say, for example, that Ted and I want to work on a certain weld in a certain joint here. We can both indicate this with our pointer fingers, and I can zoom in on that, and I can say, Ted, as our contractor, I want you to take a look at this weld joint right here. I don't feel too good about what I've been hearing from engineering. I need a report on that joint right there.
Now that yellow finger is Ted pointing?
That's exactly right, and here's mine, so we can both indicate exactly what we mean.
Okay, so you each have a cursor on the screen there.
Exactly, we both have a cursor. I can use my cursor in this mode to put in a little post-it note, and I want him to check this weld out. And that's something that is saved to the file, and you can open that up later on.
All right, how about application sharing? Can you both actually work inside a spreadsheet or something?
Yes, we have application sharing as well as a whiteboard. So I'll close this up, and I'll initiate application sharing mode by going to this menu here. And I can share any application that's running right now on my PC. In this case, I'll share Microsoft Excel.
So you're opening up Excel on your PC.
That's exactly right.
And what's Ted seeing right now?
As this is redrawing on my PC, it's also being redrawn on his. So he sees this graph and this spreadsheet right now. He sees this entire Microsoft Excel window.
Does he need Excel on his machine?
No. So I'll put his video window back up on top to keep track of him.
So Ted's still there?
Exactly right.
Still kicking, Ted?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's take a look at this number. That looks a lot of...
So Ted is now working on the spreadsheet which you opened up on your PC, and he'll be able to change numbers in there?
That's exactly right. That's what he's doing right there. As a matter of fact, his cursor is moving about, typing in new numbers. He just changed a number, and that changed our chart. And he can see everything I see here as well. So, Ted, this number here looks a little unrealistic. I'll change that to, let's say, 400 even, and you can see that happening in real time.
That's pretty cool. Ted, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ted.
You're welcome.
What does Sharevision cost? How much are you selling it for?
$1,600.
Okay, not too bad. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that's our look at virtual meetings and video conferencing. Remember, if you have any questions about anything you've seen on today's show, if you'd like to suggest topics for future shows, talk to us online on the Computers on Television forum on CompuServe. The command is Go Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. We'll see you here next time on the Computer Chronicles.